But Lewis, how do you play Magic the Gathering?
Okay, so just say, how do you play Magic the Gathering?
How do you play Magic the Gathering?
Well, okay, no, it's fine. Okay, don't do that.
How do you play Magic the Gathering, Lewis? How do you play Magic the Gathering?
Well, I'm going to tell you. It's
I
like
like
a
that.
children's TV show.
I like that. That's
You like
good.
it?
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to tell you.
I'm going to tell you. Boom! And slam the deck down.
Yeah, I'll do that. Bam! It's time for Super Tutorial 5000 on Magic the Gathering. This video is for those of you who've never played Magic before, have no idea what's going on in our videos, and just want to know how to play the game and the very basics, okay? So, in Magic the Gathering, me and Tom are powerful planeswalkers. We're wizards who have a library or a deck full of spells, and we want to cast them on each other until one of us is dead, right? We start with 20 life. This is represented by these little dice, and the idea is to just kill the other, take all of his life off. So when you start the game, you shuffle up your deck and you draw yourself 7 cards.
How do I shuffle a deck?
You can watch our shuffle deck tutorial.
That'll be done by Ben. A 16-part series, How to Shuffle a Deck.
Tom's going to go first, and because you're going first, you don't get to draw a card. Normally, you get to draw a card at the start of your turn.
So first of all, I'm going to play a land in my turn. Okay. Lands can be used to cast spells or fantastic abilities. Unfortunately, I don't have any spells that I can cast with my 1 black land at the moment. But in future turns, when I have a few more land down, I will be able to cast stuff.
So on my turn, I'm going to draw a card, and I'm going to play a land as well. But I haven't got anything I can cast, so I'll pass it back to you.
So I've drawn a card, and I'm going to play another land. This gives me more power to cast spells with. I'm going to tap both of my lands. You tap your lands to signify that you've used that power for this turn, and use that power to cast a June Beetle.
Okay.
This June Beetle requires 1 black mana and 1 mana of any color. That could be white, blue, black, red, or green mana. Any mana. And now I have a creature on the table. So a creature is a powerful monster that you can use to attack your opponent. Unfortunately, the turn that a creature comes out, it suffers from what's called summoning sickness.
Right.
It's very sleepy.
Okay.
And he is unable to attack you this turn.
Okay.
But on a later turn, he will be able to attack you.
Okay, so on my turn, I've drawn a card, and I will also play a planes. I will tap both of mine to play a creature, the Pathmaker Initiate. So again, he needs 1 red colour of mana and 1 of any colour. So he comes on the board. He's very tired and sleepy as well, so he can't do anything. And the turn passes to you.
So it's my turn. I untap any permanents that I have on the table. I draw a card, and I'm going to play a land. Now that my beetle has been out for a whole turn, he's going to attack you as he no longer suffers from summoning sickness. I signify him attacking by tapping him.
So now I get an opportunity to block. If I choose not to block, the beetle will come through, hit me in the face, and deal damage equal to its power. So its power here is 1, and its defense is 4. That means that anything it hits will take 1 damage, and it will take 4 damage before it dies. If I choose to block it with my Pathmaker Initiate, my Pathmaker Initiate has a power of 2, but a defense of only 1. So if it takes 1 damage, it will die. That means if these two fight, my Pathmaker Initiate will take 1 damage from your beetle, my Pathmaker Initiate will do 2 damage to your beetle will survive, my Pathmaker Initiate will die, and it will go to the graveyard, which is the discard pile, which is where all of the cards go when they're dead.
But how can your guy block? Doesn't he have summoning sickness?
Well, creatures with summoning sickness can still block. They just have to be untapped. Since you've attacked with your June Beetle this turn, it can't block next turn, and so you won't be able to block until you untap it at the start of your next turn. So as it is, I'm not going to throw away my creature by blocking this thing. Your Beetle only does 1 damage. I'm going to go to 19 life. Okay, so I changed my life total to say 19.
So, I have a second chance to cast more spells, but I'm not going to, and I'm going to end my turn, at which point my June Beetle returns to full life.
Okay, so now it's my turn. I've drawn a card, I can play a land, and play continues like this until one of us is dead. I can continue to play out more creatures, but there are other types of spells. So for example, I could play an artifact These are permanents that stay on the board and help me somehow. I can usually tap them, and they usually have text that you can read that will do something useful. In this case, the Luxor River Shrine. If I pay a mana and tap it, I can gain a life. There are also enchantments, which can enchant things. Either they just come down as a simple enchantment, or they say enchant creature, in which case they'll help to make a creature stronger. So maybe I can defeat your beetle if I get the power and defense of my creature up to the point where it will win fights. There are also spells that you can cast, which are one-time things. For example, Electrify. This is an instant spell that can be cast any time. If I save my mana up, I can even cast instant spells on your turn as a surprise. This Electrify, for example, deals 4 damage to target creature. So if I cast it on your beetle, it would go to the graveyard instantly. The Electrify would also go to the graveyard. So there's lots of different cards in Magic the Gathering, and lots of them have words on them. You're just gonna have to read them and figure them out mostly. But some of them have keywords that you can look up. We're gonna go through a couple of them now. So for example, this Companion of the Trials has flying, which means that when it attacks, it can fly over blocking creatures and can't be blocked except by other creatures that fly.
Well, this creature has reach. This creature can block creatures with flying.
Yeah. So also other creatures have, for example, haste, which means that it doesn't get summoning sickness and it can attack straight away when it comes down.
There's also vigilance. So that means when I attack you with that creature, it doesn't tap, meaning that I can then block with it on my following turn.
So there's plenty of different formats you can play Magic the Gathering in. Mostly the decks use a standard format of 60 cards with a maximum of 4 of each card in there.
So a good rule of thumb for your first deck is about 24 land, 20 creatures, and 16 other spells. This gives you a nice balanced variety of cards and means that you shouldn't run into too many problems when you're playing the game.
So the most fun decks stick to 1 or 2 colours, which is usually the best way to play. So in our cases it was red and white, and in your case it was green and black.
So if you're using multiple colours, like your red and white deck there, you want to split the amount of lands that you have, kind of to do with how many spells you have. So if you've got half of your spells are red and half are white, then I'd go for 12 mountains and 12 plains.
Yeah, you also want to look out for your curve. So you want to make sure you've got spells at every mana level. So you've got cheap ones and expensive ones. You don't want to be playing nothing for a long time. You want to have a nice balanced curve. There's loads more to learn in Magic, but it's really fun to learn it. There's also a lot of different formats that the game's played in, so we've got to play some of those on the channel. We played a newbie game with Harry and Mike, and me and Ben. So if you want to watch that, that's a good place to start because those guys have never played Magic the Gathering before, and we went through a lot of the things that were very basic with them. So yeah, take a look at that, see what you think. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Goodbye.
Goodbye.